Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at the highlights. A workshop on disaster management held. Law Department holds essay competition on traffic management. A short profile on Kashmir University's Botanical Garden. And we also have some important notifications. Now, the details with your host, Rafia Rahim. Department of Law organized a day-long workshop on disaster management and first aid. The workshop was held in collaboration with J&K branch of the Indian Red Cross Society. More than 200 students were sensitized about the basics of first aid and disaster management during the training sessions. Associate Professor of Law Department Dr. Mohammad Hussain presented the welcome address.
The role of the agencies like Indian Red Cross Society becomes much more important. And the agencies like disaster management, we have seen that how they have worked. Now, in addition to their role, I am also witness to the role of the youth in the previous floods. This is a right occasion to train them because we'll be witnessing in future such kinds of, natural calamities. Therefore, it's the right time that we get trained, we get prepared for tackling those kinds of situations and help the needy, the persons who are trapped in such kinds of, extents.
Honorary Secretary ICRS Ms. Roma Vani emphasized on conducting such training programs frequently.
And all over the world, Red Cross is teaching how to handle post-disaster. But what about disaster preparedness? And I think more training has to be given for that. What we need to train ourselves is, suppose this is a classroom, suddenly the siren somewhere blows, or a telephone comes, an earthquake is happening, we should all be trained. We have an empty space over here, let's all get evacuated and go there, right? And we say lightning is coming, we have an evacuation place, but oh my God, there are trees. We cannot be standing there because what would happen if a lightning falls on the tree? So we have to be in the open, right?
A couple of members of ICRC also spoke on the occasion in which they told students about the history of the organization and importance of holding such workshops.
Red Cross is a worldwide movement. ये एक तहरीक है. This movement, it's a worldwide movement, it's an independent movement, it's a voluntary movement. This movement started long back 1859. So more than 150 years back. जंग के मैदान से बर्थ इसका हुआ रेड क्रॉस. सॉल्फ्रिनो एक जगह है नॉर्दर्न इटली में जहाँ एक जंग हुई कुछ फौजों के बीच और 40,000 के करीब लोग या तो मारे गए या जख्मी. और यहाँ से इस रेड क्रॉस मूवमेंट का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो यहाँ से शुरू हुआ और आहिस्ता आहिस्ता इन्होंने एक फॉर्मल रेड क्रॉस का बुनियाद 1863 में डाला स्विट्जरलैंड.
Disaster management, as you know, it's a full-fledged discipline, like your law. So it is to sensitize the student community, youth about the disaster management, its importance, how important it is in every field, more so in a field like yours. Dormant hazard is one which does not immediately pose any risk. Suppose there is a mountain on which there is a huge mass of snow, but there is no population on its foothills. So this is a hazard, this is dormant, which even if it happens, it will not cause any damage. Vulnerability. Vulnerability by definition is proneness to risk, proneness to getting harmed, isn't it? So if one is vulnerable and there is a hazard, it may be an individual or a community. If the vulnerability is high, risk will be higher. There is only one way to reduce the risk, that is enhance the capacity, the value will reduce.
On the occasion, students showed their documentary on September 2014 post-flood relief efforts. Staying on with the law department, the Law Society of Department of Law organized a legal essay competition on traffic management system in Srinagar. About 60 students from the department and various private law colleges of the valley participated in the competition. The title of the essay was Traffic Management System, Problems and Issues in Srinagar. Speaking on the occasion, Head and Dean, Faculty of Law, Professor Muhammad Ayub, while presenting the welcome address, said that the essay papers will be evaluated in a transparent manner and 3 best essays will be awarded cash prizes.
The idea is to sensitize the law students, who is the advocate of tomorrow, in respect of wide variety of social problems with which our society locally is besieged. I am happy that most of our students, both from the department as well as affiliated colleges, have started writing columns in the newspapers and are, in a way, engaging themselves in wide varieties of problems which our society at the local level faces.
A couple of participating students shared their views on the essay competition.
This is not for the first time our department is organizing these events. This time our department is organizing event on Legal Essay Competition 2015 on traffic management system. This does not help us in our studies only, but helps in the overall development of every student.
We have been seeing that since past few months, there's a lot of traffic mess. So with this thing in mind, we organized this debate so that we can collect some of the vital data from the students and present it to the authorities.
Later, an award ceremony was held in the departmental auditorium in which winners were felicitated. SP Traffic Srinagar, Mr. Maqsoodul Zaman, who was the chief guest on the occasion, expressed his views before the participants.
We are a civilized people. We should know how I should behave. There's a word like road discipline. We should maintain that. I should take it that anybody who holds a driving license, who is in possession of a driving license, I take it that he knows all the traffic rules. I should not be telling him, "Bhai sahab, aapne helmet nahi pehni hai and you are at fault, I should fine it." No, he should be knowing it. And you'll be surprised to see that people come to me, they're telling me, "I'm not from this place." "Bhai sahab, aap kahan Mars se ho?" This is the question I'm asking them. "Nahi, main Delhi mein rehta hu." What is this? This absurd thing he's telling me. He's living in Delhi, and I know this fellow, if he has go to fetch a bread, he puts on a helmet and then takes his bike. And we are the same people who strictly abide by the traffic rules when we are outside our state. But why are not we doing it here?
Dear viewers, botanical gardens are an intrinsic part of major universities. Kashmir University has one of the best botanical gardens in India. Today, we will take you to the University Botanical Garden located at the main campus Hazratbal. Established in 1961 on an area of 5 acres of land, the main emphasis of Kashmir University's Botanical Garden was laid on growing of native and exotic plants. Today, it's spread over about 10 acres of land, most of which is being utilized for growing wild flora of the Kashmir Himalaya.
In today's world, one of the biggest challenges humanity is facing is the environmental crisis. In order to make people aware about environment, there are various types of institutions that have come into existence. One such institution is Botanical Garden. The fundamental aim of the Botanical Garden is that to have all the wild growing plant species that grow in Kashmir here, at least their representatives, so that anybody who is interested in Kashmir Himalaya, he can come here and within this shortest span of time, he can have a feel of the flora of Kashmir.
To give an aesthetic tint, the 2 lawns lying along the entrance of the garden are used for cultivation of seasonal flowering plants. A small portion of the garden is used for experimental and research activities. At present, the garden has about 450 indigenous plant species and more than 170 exotics.
This Botanical Garden have different sections and different facilities also. One such facility is pot house. In this pot house, we have potted plants, those plants which cannot grow outdoor. Majority of these plants are exotic ones. As I mentioned that there are many plants which are growing in Kashmir that we are cultivating here. In addition to that, we have many exotic plants that we try to grow here. These plants are used for ornamental purpose, or sometimes these are also used for research purposes. This is hanging geraniol. In scientifically, it is called as pelargonium. In addition to this, we have multiple colors. If you see the same plant having white color, same plant having pink color, and many different shades of these cultivated plants, potted plants. These potted plants are mostly grown indoor. In addition to this, there are many plants like Tradescantia. Tradescantia is one such plant on this side. This is basically a plant which has its origin in South America. But all over the world now, such type of plants are grown for indoor purposes, not for outdoor purposes.
The garden is among the pioneer botanic gardens in the Indian Botanic Garden network.
Our main focus in this botanical garden is that we have different kinds of plants. We don't have, say, the same kind of plant and then many different individuals of that plant, different types of plants. One such plant that is quite famous and common in Kashmir, especially in our higher mountains, that is called as Betula utilis. In Kashmiri or in Sanskrit, it's called as Bhojpatra. Bhojpatra means that in ancient times, it is bark. Bark is here. If we peel it out, this bark, we can use it for writing purpose. We can use this time also for writing purpose, but previously when there was no paper at that time, the bark of this tree was used for writing purposes. Fortunately, we have been able to establish one such plant here. Normally it is very difficult to have such type of plant growing at lower valley plains. It usually grows at higher alpines. But out of the various we tried, fortunately one such plant got established here.
It hosts some plants that have been botanical named after Kashmir.
One such plant is what is called as Levitera kashmiriana. Its name has been coined from Kashmir. In English it is called as Kashmiri mallow. As we know, there is one plant which we use as vegetable that's called as sotsal in Kashmiri. If you see the family, same is the family for this particular plant, this Levitera kashmiriana. It grows mostly in the forests of Kashmir, and it is both used for medicinal purpose and it can be a beautiful ornamental plant. In fact, in Europe and North America, it is used as an ornamental plant.
KUBG has also got an international recognition from Botanic Gardens Conservation International, London, and is now a member of global network of botanic gardens. A number of rare and threatened plants are grown in the garden. It's the major high-altitude botanical garden in the northwestern India, offering congenial conditions for growing temperate, subalpine and alpine plants.
Here we have 9 species of Coniferatum, which forms our main forests. That means whole forest diversity is dominated by these Coniferatum species. Their number is less, but their area there in Kashmir Himalaya is more than that in other species. It is predominant species that it helps in carbon sequestration. It provides us oxygen, which is important for sustenance of living beings, and it provides a habitat in our forests for growing understory herbaceous plants, including medicinal plants. And the wood is used as a timber for construction of houses, etc. In Kashmiri, we call it Deodar. It is the most durable wood of the gymnosperms in the world. We have one sample of this Deodar in Forest Research Institute, Dehradun, where you can count the growth rings of that trunk that is 900 years old. That why it is durable? Because it is having antifungal, anti-pesticides and anti-pathogen chemicals in its wood, and it is also resistant to the water lodging conditions.
The garden has a small pond with a canal that is used for growing aquatic plants.
In this garden, we have established a facility who are interested to work on aquatic plants. For this, we established here a lily pond in which we have number of aquatic plants which are otherwise growing in wetlands in our aquatic habitats. Here we have prominent aquatic plant that is Nymphia mexicana. In English, we call it water lily. In Kashmiri, we call it pombach.
For housing the tropical and subtropical exotic ornamental plants, glass and hot houses were constructed in the garden in 1981. They provide protection to the tropical and subtropical exotic plants during freezing winters.
This is the hothouse wherein during the 3 months, December, January and February, we continuously provide them heat so that they can withstand the temperature. Otherwise, if we keep them outdoor, they can't withstand the freezing temperatures. There are many types of cactus and many other type of plants which grow in other parts of the world, tropical plants, which we are trying to establish here. One such plant, very important plant, that is commercially known as rubber plant. This is one such rubber plant. Normally rubber plant, they are very big plants. We have many modern facilities also available in this Kashmir University Botanical Garden. One such facility is greenhouse. This greenhouse has 4 different chambers wherein controlled temperatures are maintained. We know nowadays there are a lot of studies going on climate change. Different temperature regimes we can have. In order to have an ambient temperature, we can have different pot experiments, research studies in this botanical garden. One such facility, that is the greenhouse that we have here.
The garden has well-defined sections like rockery, where various hardy plants of rocks and mountain sides grow. It also has medicinal plant section for research purposes.
We are cultivating these medicinal plants under X2 conservation for their conservation program. We also got 5 years back a project under UGC SAP scheme in which we got funded for first 5 years, then they have recently extended it further for 5 years for its conservation of medicinal plants and aromatic plants of Kashmir, Himalaya.
Wapal hawk. Its leaves used, or even nowadays they are used in our tribal belts as a vegetable. It is leaves, mostly foliage. This plant is called as Dipsacus inermis. It also grows in our forests, and we are trying to get these plants here, and at least whether for education purpose or for research purpose or sometimes for conservation purposes, grow here, and then at many occasions we try to establish them in their original habitats.
Kahzaban. And this Kahzaban is botanically known as Arnibia benthami. It is growing in our alpine areas, that is in mountainous peaks. That means the areas which are inaccessible to human beings, grazing animals. This medicine plant, the leaves, it is decoction. Leaves are boiled in a water, and the decoction is used for the treatment of respiratory tract infection.
In medicinal plant section, there are some rare plant species that act as anti-cancer.
एक plant है जो काफी मशहूर है कश्मीर में. That is called as Podophyllum hexandrum. In Kashmiri, it is called as one wangun. If you see its fruit, it's just like a wangun, but one means forest. It's a wangun that grows in forest. And now scientifically there are studies that a chemical comes out of it, podophyllene, that is anti-carcinogenic. God forbid, if somebody is afflicted with this dreadful disease, its constituents, chemical constituents are believed to be effective against that particular disease.
Here we have a Taxus species from Europe. It is known as European yew. It is the source of anti-cancer drug, that is Taxol, that has been extracted from its bark. It is known as Taxus baccata. And we have also same species in our forests. This is known as Himalayan yew. Scientifically, it is known as Taxus walchiana. This species is endemic to northwestern Himalaya. In Kashmiri, we call it Kutsul. And it is an endangered gymnosperm species growing in our forest. Why it is endangered? Because of overexploitation. For its use in medicinal therapy. That it is bark which contains a drug that is known as anti-cancer drug, that is known as Taxol, which has been isolated first from European species. Later on, it has been also detected from this species.
The Botanical Garden at Kashmir University adds to the serene atmosphere of the campus. So next time you visit the university, don't miss to visit the Botanical Garden. Now, some important notifications of the university. The viva of the students of Shahi Hamdan Institute of Islamic Studies who have submitted their projects will be held on July 27th. The final year students of MPEd are informed to submit their research projects until July 31st. The students who have applied to various PG courses are advised to stay in touch with concerned departments or deans. To know more about these, log on to kashmiruniversity.ac.in or kashmiruniversity.net. With this, we come to the end of today's program. To watch all these episodes of Quest, log on to ammrckashmir.com. Send us your suggestions at our email address quest@ammrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are few words of wisdom. One cannot conceive of objectivity without subjectivity.